dream of fairies and princesses? Then you've come to the right place. Welcome to Disney Coast to Coast.
Hey folks, and welcome to Disney Coast to Coast, the ultimate unofficial Disney fan podcast. I'm Jeff DePaoli.
And I'm Patrick Dougal.
And today we are kind of doing a retrospective D23 Expo a year later.
Almost exactly a year later.
Yeah, it's kind of cool. It's actually where Patrick and I met. And so we're going to kind of discuss... First of all, we haven't talked about D23 at all. So some people listening might be, what is D23? And we'll get to that. But before we get to that, we want to keep our promise and hit our Frozen of the Week topic.
Yep.
Would you? And they didn't disappoint. There is definitely legitimate Frozen news now for our second week in a row to report. So take it away, Patrick.
Well, for your Frozen news of the week, we just found out that the Frozen Summer of Fun has been extended 4 more weeks at the Hollywood Studios. So if you don't get a chance to catch it before it was leaving in August, it is extending through September.
Walt Disney World Hollywood Studios through September 28th. The only difference, it looks like everything's staying the same. The only difference is the fireworks, which are currently every night, the special Frozen fireworks, will start being only Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Other than that, it's all the same Frozen magical stuff. So that's your Frozen of the week. Also, I want to mention that we had some people listening, or one person in particular, who listened to our Harry Potter episode, the Disney versus Harry Potter. Mm-hmm. And they weren't so happy with us.
Really?
And the reasoning behind it, most specifically you, but the reasoning behind it is, I mean, I made it very well aware I'm not the biggest Harry Potter fan, but you claim to be a big Harry Potter fan. Mm-hmm. And their argument was, if you haven't read the books, you're not a fan.
My counter argument to that is, you don't need to. I don't feel like you need to be.
Yeah. Okay. Well, now we're gonna.
I can be a fan of the movies. I can be a fan of the theme park.
Yes, agreed. But they're saying if you cannot call yourself a real Harry Potter fan,
well, then I won't.
Okay. So no.
I'll call myself a Harry Potter theme park enthusiast.
There we go. That's where I am at this point. So although I'm halfway through the movies, almost. Kind of halfway through the movies. So, in any case, just wanted to report that news. So, Patrick officially takes away his Harry Potter fan title, so you can stop sending emails about that. Thank you.
Although I'll still represent my Hufflepuff lanyard.
Oh, yeah. He's
for
all
the next 100 years.
100, huh?
Yeah.
Nice.
So it's a real year.
Okay, well, cool. Also, before we jump into the D23 Expo, I do want to mention, as you know, Newsies on Broadway is closing August 24th.
Yeah, I mean,
no, and then it's going on tour. But I love Newsies, but the reason I mention this, again, is because, so this past week, one of the guys who's been with the show since the beginning, his name is Jack Scott, and he just does YouTube videos of like him singing covers of songs, playing the little ukulele, and I'm watching his most current video, and halfway through the video, he's in his dressing room, and I just start looking around the space, and I see something that I recognize, and I'm like, what? Oh my God. A painting that I had sent to the Newsies has been hung in the Newsies dressing room for over a year now.
And you had no clue?
I had no idea. I just sent it to the theater. I was like, love the show, whatever. And I used to do these silhouette paintings. And I'm just sitting there watching him perform, and I was like, oh my God, that's my painting. That's amazing. Could I just tell you, made my day.
But now it's leaving.
Well, it's leaving, but, I'm sure one of them will keep it. Hopefully. I don't know. Hey, look, the fact that it was on the wall in the theater for over a year now, shocked me.
Yeah.
Trust me, I see plenty of fan mail, and I know what happens to most of it. Mm-hmm. So, anyway, come on.
Cool story.
Awesome. Anyway, D23 Expo. For those of you who don't know, D23 is the official Disney Fan Club. It began in 2009, March of 2009, and their big event every other year is the D23 Expo, which is essentially Comic-Con for Disney fanatics. And as I mentioned, Patrick and I met there at the 2013 Disney Expo, and they've just announced the dates, well, we've had the dates for a while, but next year's is August 14th through 16th, but tickets go on sale this month on the 14th.
On the 14th.
Yeah, so it's always 1 year in advance. And because of that, we thought maybe we would take a look back at last year's Expo, where we met, and see if Disney kept their promises on what they said they would deliver to us. So, you want to jump into this, or?
There's so much.
There's so much. It's crazy. First of all, the Expo's amazing. If you know nothing about D23, check out D23.com. It stands for Disney, and 23 is 1923 is the year that the company was established. So that's what that stands for. But, one of the things that I specifically remember during the animation panel was John Lasseter coming on stage and introducing Idina Menzel to perform Let It Go. And he kept pushing the fact. This was before anybody really knew anything about Frozen.
Yeah.
It wasn't Frozen like it is now. But he kept saying, this song is the next huge Disney ballad. And I believe he even compared it to Part of Your World, which when you say that to me, I'm like, oh, blasphemy. Nothing is Part of Your World. I gotta say, he was right.
Yeah.
He was 100%.
Nobody knew.
No, oh God! And frankly, after that performance at the D23 Expo, I was like, nope, nowhere near it. But apparently, it's pretty huge.
Yeah. A year later.
Have you heard of this little film called Frozen?
I don't think so.
And a song called Let It Go?
Mm-mm.
I think the funniest thing about Let It Go is, as they often do for Disney movies, they'll have the version that's in the movie, and then they'll have like a pop star for the credits usually. And that's the one that the radio plays. And it was Demi Lovato, right? Doing the pop version?
Yeah.
And it's so interesting how, like, the Idina Menzel movie version is the one that everybody wants to hear.
Well, I don't know. When I was living in Orlando, actually, they took away the Demi Lovato version and completely just started playing Idina Menzel's version.
On the radio.
On the radio.
Yeah, exactly.
So, I mean, that's the first time I've ever heard Disney songs, like, on the radio.
I know. Well, God, it's so interesting because if you go like way back in the days, they used to play like Broadway music on regular radio stations and stuff. So it's like before this whole pop thing existed. I think it's great. I love it. But like, I don't know, if you think of Beauty and the Beast, even when that movie was in theaters, you heard Celine Dion singing it on the radio constantly. You didn't. You were like,
no, still
wetting your diapers.
Mm-hmm.
But you didn't hear Angela Lansbury singing it on the radio, is my point. So it's pretty, I mean, Let It Go is bigger than I ever thought it would be.
Oh, yeah.
It's crazy. Another thing that was mentioned at the expo, I think
it was in the Imagineering pavilion on the floor.
Oh, you're talking about this?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, well, I was going to say, in general, I think this is the first expo that last year was the first expo that they had since they had acquired Star Wars, correct? Mm-hmm. Lucasfilm. So there wasn't a ton of information about the films. In fact, I remember
zero.
I was with my friend who was convinced. I mean, he was talking for weeks before. He's like, Mark Hamill, Harrison Ford, Carrie Fisher, they're going to be there. They're going to be there. I was like, all right. I'm glad you think so.
And then the film panel came up and they put a big logo. They're like, Star Wars! And moving on.
I mean, pretty much that's exactly what they did. They're like, and we have no information. They had just bought Lucasfilm. I don't even think the scripts were finished or anything. So it's, so there was very little information. Frankly, there's still very little information.
Oh, yeah.
We know there's a Millennium Falcon in the movie. We know Harrison Ford broke his ankle. But Star Wars is very top secret. We know Kevin Smith says it's going to be like the greatest thing of all time. But other than that, in Star Wars news, in the Imagineering Pavilion, there was Orange Harvest. You want to talk about that?
Yeah, I mean, Star Wars, besides Disney owning the film rights and stuff now, it's always been a big part of in theme parks, especially around Hollywood Studios in Orlando. But they mentioned this project name called Orange Harvest, which I think was the code name for filming Return of the Jedi.
I believe you're correct.
So they mentioned this Orange Harvest idea in the Imagineering Pavilion which kind of hinted towards a new attraction or a new area coming.
That's where I met R2-D2.
Yeah, coming somewhere. However, since then, a year later, we haven't heard anything more about it.
Yeah, they really didn't give much info then either.
No, it was just, you kind of had to figure it out yourself. That even the Imagineers wouldn't tell you. It was literally like these crates. R2-D2 was coming out of it, and on the box it said like Orange Harvest. And apparently I remember D23, their Twitter, tweeting that R2-D2 is actually spouting like all the secrets, but in his like secret language.
Maybe since they came out of crates, it's a scavenger hunt to find Star Wars characters in crates around the park. No. That's not it.
No. I mean, I'm still guessing, which everyone guessed a year ago, but still, there's really no news, is Hollywood Studios. Becoming
a Star Wars
huge Star Wars influence.
Well, that's what they say is going to happen to Tomorrowland out here. Those are the rumors there. So I wouldn't be surprised if both coasts that happens. But from what I hear, they don't really want to do anything until the first new movie comes out. Because for continuity's sake, they wanted the stories to make sense.
Yeah, it's a long tease.
It's a very long tease. So yeah, that was the Star Wars news. Pixar had some announcements. We kept hearing about this movie Inside Out, which I at the time didn't have a title, I believe, which is now coming out next year. And then The Good Dinosaur, which I believe at the time also didn't have a title. Or
No.
Did that one have a title at that point? Okay,
Yeah.
I'm thinking of 2 Expos ago then. But then that one got pushed.
Yeah.
So
Originally it's supposed to come out this year. Now we're getting 2 Pixar movies next year.
which will be Inside Out and
Good Dinosaur.
Good
Good Dinosaur coming out in the spring. Inside Out coming out fall.
yeah. So I've been hearing about those for a long time, and I guess we're still waiting.
I think Finding Dory's after that.
Finding Dory, and then there's
which they had no information on at the D23 from what I remember.
Yeah, I don't even think they mentioned it, did
No.
they? Yeah, and then there's an untitled one in the works as well. So Pixar's busy. We're just not seeing a bunch from them. Although, this is a nice segue. I remember at the expo, Toy Story of Terror.
Yes.
Do you remember this? Toy Story of Terror, if you're not familiar with it, was, first of all, I am an avid fan of television holiday specials. I love them. I mean, if you look at my DVD shelf, I have tons of holiday specials on DVD. I just love them. So whenever there's like a new one and a new good one, because I just find that that's so rare these days, I get excited. So at Halloween last year, Pixar premiered Toy Story of Terror, which was a 30-minute TV special, which excited me, and I loved it. Did you like it?
I loved it too.
I loved it. And in recent news, actually, they announced there's going to be a new Toy Story Christmas special this year, and it's called Toy Story That Time Forgot. And the thing that's so cool about these, that's shocking to me, Pixar must be an amazing place to work for, because for these TV specials, they get like all the original cast members back. Tom Hanks is doing it.
You have to.
No, you don't have to.
You have to.
No, it's nice if you do, but most of these big stars won't do it beyond the movie.
But it's Toy Story.
I guess so, but like Ellen doesn't do Dory's voice in any of the attractions. It's only for the movie. And have there been any other animation versions of Finding Nemo, like any TV shows or specials or anything? I don't think so. But in any case, I know that she doesn't do it for the theme park. So like, that's the norm. You get these big names to do it for the movies, and then you find voice doubles for TV. So the fact that they're still getting Tom Hanks and, why am I blanking on his name? Buzz Lightyear. What's his, who does that? Oh my goodness. Home Improvement.
Tim
Allen, thank you. You looked.
I was like into my mind.
They still got Tim Allen. They still got Don Rickles, who will live forever in my mind. And it's impressive, is all I can say. So I'm looking very forward to Toy Story.
What I'm surprised about this is they actually mentioned this during Comic-Con, which usually now, since D23 started, they've saved pretty much everything for...
Yeah, but it's this Christmas, so...
Yeah.
So next year's too late.
They could... Hey, remember half a year ago when we premiered?
Yeah, right. We premiered a special 6 months ago. Hope you caught it. D23 Expo is every 2 years, as we mentioned. What do you think? Do you think it's going to become every year eventually?
What I think is... I mean, of course, we would love it to happen every year, but I feel like they want to build up so much stuff that they have enough. I mean, I think they'll have enough content yearly, but...
Well, I will say, I was very disappointed last year with the Imagineer Pavilion, as well as... I don't even think they had a theme park presentation, did they? If I'm remembering correctly. Okay, here's the thing.
I love the Imagineering Pavilion.
It was mostly...
However, I do think they should have had a showcase panel.
The Imagineering Pavilion was all about old stuff. It was frankly celebrating the 50th anniversary of Imagineering. I think it was the 50th. It was a lot of they had Pirates animatronics in there and stuff, and it was a lot of old stuff that's already been done. There was no, this is the future. I think the closest thing is the Orange Harvest teas was, the closest new thing that they had. Whereas, the expo before, they had, all stuff about Seven Dwarfs Mine Train and Cars Land and stuff. And these are things that we hadn't seen yet that were, announcements. And I wanted the announcements versus the history because it just, to me, it felt like another archives exhibit, which we already have at
it was half and half. I mean, you did have the Orange Harvest. I also had a bunch of Pandora stuff for Avatar. They did have I remember the animatronics pavilion had the Hatbox Ghost from Haunted Mansion, but I remember towards the right side there was a lot of course, Magic Band stuff, which wasn't really released yet. And then also they had some technology with the magic bands. I remember that specifically there was a magic lamp that if you tapped with it, it said your name or something. So, I mean, they had a little stuff, but I couldn't imagine the year before when they had
was that your first expo?
Yeah, that was my first expo.
Oh, I didn't realize that was your first expo. That explains it. If you'd seen previous Imagineering things, you would have been disappointed by it, most likely. Did you see Lincoln's head in there?
Yes.
That was so disturbing. Ladies and gentlemen, if you have...
Without the skin.
Yeah, well...
yeah, there's one with and one without.
Well, here's the thing. If you've been to Disney theme park and either seen Great Moments with Mr. Lincoln or the Hall of Presidents at Walt Disney World, you know about these audio animatronic human figures of the presidents, which are pretty darn lifelike. And I have to say, up close with Lincoln, it creeped me out because it was just the head. There was no body or anything. They just had the head sitting on a table and showing you how it worked and how they controlled it and stuff. Creepy.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure any animatronic with just a head is probably going to be creepy.
I agree, but I don't know. The fact that Lincoln was a real person just made it extra creepy. The only thing that could have scared me even more if it was Walt. I would have been no!
Yes, they need to do that.
They're the head really is frozen. That's a rumor. Don't start spreading that, folks. But yeah, so the expo, I don't know if they have enough to do every year, to be honest.
That's what I said.
And also the first year was 4 days. And since then it's only been 3. It used to be a Thursday through Sunday. Now it's always a Friday through Sunday. So I'm sure Thursday attendance was terrible, but I have never missed an expo day since the beginning. I love the D23 Expo. I gotta say, by the end of the D23 Expo, I get emotional because it's the end of summer camp.
Oh, I know.
It really, you do a lot of expos and stuff.
Yeah, all the time.
Do you feel that way after all of them?
Hit or this one and only 2 I've really felt.
What's the other one?
It used to be a YouTube convention. Now it's kind of become a fan convention, so I actually stopped going.
Oh, okay.
So now there's just D23 that
Yeah, I'm telling you, by the end of it, it's like that last day of summer camp, which is ridiculous to think of because it's 3 days.
Yeah, but it's the longest 3 days of your life. You get up at 5 in the morning just to get in line for something, and then you're going through the convention until 9 at night, and you just repeat the same thing over and over.
It's so much fun. I'm kind of glad that it is every 2 years only because it makes it even more special.
Yeah.
But last year they had obviously the one here in Anaheim, which they keep saying, oh, is it going to go to Walt Disney World? I don't think it is personally because I don't think you'll get the celebrities to show up.
Exactly. One
of the big things at the expo is the celebrities that come.
And I think that's the reason they also have another event called Destination D, which is usually over in Orlando.
Which happens, I believe, every year. I don't think it's just the non-expo years. I believe it's every year. And it kind of actually topping around the country this year. It's happening here at the Walt Disney Studios. It's happening at Walt Disney World as well as other cities around the country. So
I think you're thinking of the Faniversary event.
Oh, I'm sorry, I am.
Destination D is another convention.
Okay, you're right. There's so many of them. I can't keep track of them. God, I used to go to so many D23 events. It's crazy. But also, you mentioned Avatar briefly from the Imagineering expo or area, but they mentioned it. They talked a little bit about it. We've broken ground since. I guess that's
really
something. Yeah. What are they saying? 2017?
Yeah, 2017.
Oh, goodness.
ETA.
Ugh.
We'll see.
It's a long time.
Yeah.
It's a long time. Ugh, Avatar. Can't come soon enough. Also, last Expo was the first time that they had, since they'd bought the rights to Marvel. And Marvel in the parks, or Marvel in general, we've seen them start making a bunch of money off the movies. We have seen, at least at Disneyland, some meet and greets with Captain America and Thor. At Walt Disney World, we've seen them get into trouble for using the characters on a monorail.
Yeah. I've actually seen some merchandise over in Epcot from Marvel, but not too much.
Oh yeah, we've got Marvel mouse ears now. But if you don't know the story behind Marvel in Florida, have we discussed this on the show? I don't know if we have. I'm not sure.
I'm pretty sure it's common knowledge at this point. If you're a theme park fan.
If you're a theme park junkie. But just in case you don't know, Universal Studios in Florida, Islands of Adventure, has a whole Marvel superhero island, which is obviously like a conflict of interest with Disney owning the rights, but they can't break the contract that was made a long time ago. So the rule is, in Florida, Marvel characters cannot appear in the Disney theme parks, only at the Universal ones. So they actually wrapped, I think it was an Avengers ad around the monorail. Is that what it was? Let's just say
one of them.
I think it was Avengers. And so they wrapped the monorail in the advertisement and stuff. And because the monorail runs through
Well, this is the Epcot line. They wrapped the Epcot line monorail, which runs through Epcot. Technically, that goes through the park. Technically, you can't have Marvel in the park, so they had to switch it over to the Magic Kingdom monorail, which just runs around the Seven Seas Lagoon and doesn't go through a park.
So people are keeping their eye on it, and it's still messy and weird, but. And
I don't think anyone truly knows the full details of that. Like,
well, I don't either, because
no one does. Everyone's like, "Oh, it can't be past the Mississippi or something."
Well, the funny thing is, I think Patrick and I just, because this is, believe it or not, folks, this is the stuff we talk about even when we're not recording podcasts. I think we were discussing how we can meet these characters at Disneyland, and we were trying to figure out a way around it at Walt Disney World. And I was thinking, well, maybe if the rules are you can't meet them in the parks, perhaps you could do like a character breakfast, Marvel style, in one of the resort hotels. I feel like if that were legal, they would have done it by now.
I feel like there's like, it could be like, I don't think characters are just ever allowed anywhere around Disney World. I mean, advertisements maybe. I don't think anyone knows the true fine details of the contract between that. But especially Captain America, since you can actually meet Captain America in Islands of Adventure. Thor, not so much, but
yeah, it's messy. It's messy, to say the least. So that was the big Marvel thing.
Well, Marvel was a huge, it took pretty much over half of the live action panel. I mean, that's really all Disney had to, release.
That and Maleficent.
Yeah.
Which of course happened and I was happy with.
But they're kicking butt this year with Captain America and Guardians of the Galaxy.
Oh yeah. Money-wise, you mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, Marvel makes a lot of money. Who do you think will win once the Star Wars movies start up? What do you think will start making more money, Star Wars or Marvel?
Ooh. Well, Disney wins.
Yeah, it's a win-win for Disney.
That's because I think, what is it? I think Avengers is coming out next year.
I don't.
As well as Star Wars.
Star Wars,
So, Disney.
It's December next year for Star Wars, I believe, right? Yeah. It was supposed to be May. I think it got pushed to December.
Did it get pushed?
Yeah, that's what I heard. Speaking of push, did you hear there was the whole battle between Captain America and Batman versus Superman, or Superman versus Batman?
Yes.
Did you hear Superman versus Batman moved?
Yep.
They moved their date, so they're actually coming out earlier, which I think it'll be good for them. I think like March or something. Like, what the heck else is in theaters in March? So,
well, Captain America kicked off the summer season this year.
Yeah.
Guardians ended it, so.
It was kind of funny to see who was going to move. I kept saying Superman vs. Batman was going to move. Of course. But it's official. They've moved. One other thing, I cannot remember if it was last year's Expo or the one before. I know it was definitely the one before. I can't remember if they mentioned it again or not. But the Haunted Mansion movie that we keep hearing about with Guillermo del Toro.
I don't believe it was even talked about this Expo.
Okay, I think you're right. I don't think it was. But the one before that, I remember them mentioning it because I was excited about it.
Oh, me too. I'm like, hello.
Of course, I don't know if it could ever compare to the brilliant Eddie Murphy.
Oh, so good.
Haunted Mansion movie.
Love it.
And that's what we call sarcasm, folks. So yeah, they were supposed to make another Haunted Mansion movie. Supposedly it's still happening.
Well, it could be. I haven't heard anything about it.
Haven't heard anything, although
could be one of those things like Hyperion Wharf, where they're like, we're just not going to talk about it anymore.
Well, Guillermo was interviewed, and he said he still wants to do it. They're just waiting for like the perfect script.
Okay.
And so hopefully it still happens. Supposedly he's at Disneyland all the time riding the thing.
Well, he's a huge Haunted Mansion fan. I remember, I think it was not this past D23, but the one before, the actual Hatbox Ghost was up for auction, and he paid a pretty penny for it. Yeah.
I'd love to see something more happen with that. It'd be great.
Maybe 2015 we'll hear something.
Maybe. And now we get to the greatest, at least for me, and I'm pretty sure for you as well, the greatest moment of D23 Expo last year was the Dick Sherman and Alan Menken concert.
Good stuff.
No, amazing stuff. This was truly one of the best concerts of my life. If you don't know you should know who Dick Sherman and Alan Menken are, but they've written a ton of music for Disney. And for the first time ever, they shared a stage and rocked a concert, of their music. And words cannot even express how good that was. And I'm pretty sure almost everybody in that audience cried at one point or another. I know Patrick did. I saw him. He was sobbing.
Oh. It's so good.
Actually, one specific moment I remember was when Alan Menken started playing Santa Fe from Newsies, and we were just like, so excited.
Yeah.
So good. Love it. Love that concert.
Well, I love that it wasn't just like Disney song, but they actually did Disney Broadway as well. So
Alan Menken, I think, played something from everything he's ever done for Disney. Like literally,
it was a good 2.5, almost 3-hour concert.
Actually, you can watch the entire concert on YouTube. I know somebody's posted it. It might even be Disney officially posted it, but the entire concert's on there if you search for it. So just search D23 Expo 2013, Dick Sherman, Alan Menken, and you'll find it. And it was breathtakingly amazing. I loved it. Let's do it. I don't know how they could top that next year, to be honest.
I don't know. I remember the year before that, it was the Legend ceremony that was the big. Because
all the princesses. Yeah, I saw that. All the princesses got their Disney Legend awards, and they sang their songs. And Jodie Benson singing "Part of Your World." I'm sorry, still sounds exactly like Ariel.
Oh my god.
Whereas Paige O'Hara, who's the voice of Belle, her voice has definitely changed quite a bit, and it was interesting to hear those songs sung in her more mature voice. Mm-hmm. But Ariel's still rocking it.
Oh yeah, Jodie Benson, she is Little Mermaid.
It's amazing. Anywho, I'd say that's our D23 wrap up from last year to now.
Yeah. Not too much
has happened.
Yeah.
There's a lot of announcements still happening. But anyway, shall we jump into trivia?
Mm-hmm.
Do you have a question for me?
Well, you can go first.
I will go first. Okay. As we mentioned during the Alan Menken concert, he played, and I reiterate once again, literally from everything he's ever written for Disney. But everything he's done has always been movies for Disney. But he did write a song for a television show for Disney. Do you happen to remember which television show it was?
It was an ABC show.
It was definitely an ABC show.
And that was the one he won an award for.
I think he was nominated for an Emmy. I don't know. You know what he did when...
Was it called The Neighbors?
Yes, it was called The Neighbors.
Yeah.
You're correct.
I have paid attention.
It has since been canceled.
That was the one with, like, the aliens.
Yeah, I watched an episode recently for some... Oh, those... Because they did a Shark Tank tie-in. That's what that was about. But, so they did a musical episode, and Alan Menken wrote the music for it. And we've since learned since then that Alan Menken will once again be writing for television this fall for a TV show called Gallivant for ABC. So more musical television coming our way with Alan Menken. But in any case, you're right. It was called The Neighbors. And he performed that song as well. I'm telling you, he performed from everything. What was the one? He wrote like a superhero theme song for some movie. Oh goodness. It was like for Over the Credits. And Alan Menken wrote the music. And I think he even performed that.
I have no idea. I'm glad that
it was a Captain America movie.
Was it?
Yes. He wrote the song. I think it was Captain America. It was some Marvel movie. I'm pretty sure it was Captain America.
Don't quote us.
No, I'm telling you. He wrote a song for a Marvel movie.
All right. We'll look it up.
Yeah.
I don't believe you, but we'll see.
It's true.
All right. Ready?
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. At the D23 Expo.
Yes.
They premiered a Disney costume character for the first time. Well, two if you count Captain America, but one specifically is a Disney Junior character that
I was gonna say Talking Mickey, so I guess that's not...
it didn't appear in the parks yet, and that was the first time she appeared in the parks.
Was it Sophia the First?
It was not Sophia.
Okay, wait a sec. Was it Dr. McStuffins?
Yes.
What
Doc McStuffins.
Doc McStuffins.
Her first appearance ever was at the D23 Expo before she hit the parks.
I gotta say, I missed that appearance of hers.
I actually went to it.
Of course you did. Doc McStuffins. Cool. Well,
I think she premiered on the Disney Channel stage on the floor.
Okay.
So I went to that.
Nice. I was probably off at some panel learning something while Patrick was waiting in line to meet a character. That sounds right. Sounds like us. So in any case, folks, thanks for listening. That's going to do it this week for us. If you have any questions for us, shoot us an email at DisneyCoastToCoast@gmail.com. That's Disney with a Z. And we will see you next time. Bye.
See you real soon.
Thanks for listening to Disney Coast to Coast. Have a magical day.